Hello everyone. Today we are talking about Double Dragon 4. Now, Double Dragon 4 was originally considered to be the Super Nintendo title, but now there is an official game because the Super Nintendo title was just called Super Double Dragon. But most people considered it the fourth title until now that there is an actual one with 4. There was a title which I misremembered when I did my Let's Play. The one on the Atari Jaguar is Double Dragon 5, not 4. That was a mistake I made in my commentary. Moving on. So today we are talking about Double Dragon 4, the newest entry in the arcade beat-em-up. Now, Double Dragon 4 oddly is in the style of the NES games versus the arcade titles, which to be fair, more people are more familiar with the NES sprites than the arcade sprites, but it seems kind of odd to have a new entry like that. But if you're into the retro look, you'll find many that are based or just straight out whipped from the NES titles. Especially with the unlocked kill, those we'll talk about later on. But okay, so story-wise, seemingly taking place in the middle of 2 and 3. I'm not 100% sure of the actual timeline stuff too well. It definitely takes place after 2, but I would say it probably takes place before 3, considering what happens in 3. But it could very well take place after 3 too. I'm not sure if there's any official information on that, but essentially quite similar to number 1 and 2, that a bunch of new gang members show up and kidnap Maria, forcing Billy and Joey to return to the streets, punching and kicking their way to the leader of the gang. Now, sadly, I feel there are a lot of problems that impact the feeling of the game. When you're trying to do some of the moves, there are a lot more moves in this game, but I feel like there's something off about them. They don't feel natural. They feel random when they get triggered. Like, they don't feel like I'm doing them, say like maybe 90% of the time. I feel like it's very random when they get triggered when I'm hitting the buttons. And another problem, the game also feels unbalanced later out because you're going to be outnumbered a lot more, especially if you're playing 2-player. The game does flood more enemies at you when you have 2 players, so you're especially going to get flooded. But you're always outnumbered in a lot of different sections with a lot of people. And usually when you get knocked down, you can do like a knee kick or uppercut that knocks enemies away from you. But one of the problems is, usually one of the enemies won't get hit because they might be hovering on the other side of you while like 4 other goons are hovering on the one side and he or another one's hovering, and usually you'll miss 1 or 2 and they'll just knock your ass back down, repeating the process over again, and it gets very repetitive that way. And this suddenly it makes you feel like you need to cheese the game so hardcore like you do in Double Dragon 3. Tell me anyone who's never cheesed the NES version of Double Dragon 3. That is just like a miracle thing for someone that it's very odd, and it causes a strange issue. Is I'm not sure exactly the trigger. Sometimes when you're knocked down, you don't get up with your invincibility. Sometimes you do, and sometimes you don't, but it's certainly not always, and that causes a lot of problems where you get your ass beat back down on the street corner as well. And while speaking of cheesing, there's also an odd bug in this game. I'm not sure if it's intentional. I would assume it's a bug, but as far as I know, it still functions, and it's something a lot of people abuse. When you're on the very top or the very bottom of the screen, usually most, if not all, the enemies won't engage you. There is a thorough video on YouTube that talks about which AI and what scenarios cause them to be able to hit you and not hit you. But it is a very odd bug that a lot of people use in some of the additional modes along with the story mode to survive longer, since you do have a limited amount of continues now. Now, you can start at the last stage you beaten with the option buttons on the main menu. So, but if you're a trophy hunter for like when you unlock additional characters you can play in story mode, you have to do them in one sitting. You can't do them with the stage select option. So if you're a trophy hunter, that's not going to help you very much. Now, you have the story and you have a versus mode, which most of the Double Dragon games also have. And later, you'll unlock, after the story mode, Tower Mode. Now, Tower Mode is a floor-by-floor wave of fights, and they're not the same. There are many floors that have had different enemies, and I'm not sure what really causes that, but you always have some mobs on each floor going up and up. And as you, basically, as you clear the floors, you'll unlock enemy characters you can play in the story. How it works is, when you play the story, you'll unlock characters in versus mode, and when you get tower mode and you get to certain floors, you'll unlock enemy characters you can play in story mode. So there is some replayability in this game, but sadly there is no online. But the story in tower mode can be played co-op, and obviously versus is versus another player, and it does not have an AI. It is an actual player you have to fight in versus. So, but you could use that to train and practice on some of the moves, because a lot of different enemies have completely different moves. So you could use that as kind of a training thing too, if you just start that and let a second player just stand around. You can turn off hoarding or not hoarding each other like most Double Dragon games also do. Now, none of the music really stuck out at me. It's pretty it reuses a few little tracks, but most of what's new didn't really sound like something I'm going to put on like an iPod worthy or anything. But you'll see a lot of reused sprites, like I said, in Tower Mode. Tower Mode makes use of a lot of familiar sprites you may have seen. Now, can I recommend Double Dragon 4? I can only see two people really wanting Double Dragon 4. Big Double Dragon fans who want to get all the Double Dragon and possibly River City Ransom games, or beat 'em up fans that are really desperate to find beat 'em ups, since most beat 'em ups are only in the indie space these days. So there ain't a lot of really big beat 'em up type titles. And aside from that, I don't really see a lot of people picking this up. It's been mostly panned by most people, and it's a shame there's no online, so it makes it a little tricky to get someone if you don't have any local friends in this adult life where everyone moves away to work different jobs in different places. But you can use the share play on PS4, but that usually has a little lag. Now the game is available on, I know it's on PS4, obviously. This is the limited one version on the limited one version for PS4. It's on PC. There is no DRM free version. It's not available on GOG, even though there are other Double Dragons on GOG. It's available digitally on the Switch, though I wouldn't be shocked if Limited One Games does a physical version for the Switch down the road, since they have so far been re-releasing titles they've done on the PS4 on the Switch. So I would probably say if you're interested in it, that's probably one way you can go. It is not available on the Xbox as far as I'm aware of. So Steam, PS4, and the Nintendo Switch, and the only physical version at the moment of this video is the PS4 version. But like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if Limited One Games were to do a physical Switch version, because they are really hyping Switch versions quite a bit. I probably wouldn't pay a crap load of money, which luckily it's digitally at least it's pretty cheap. It's $6.99, basically $7 digitally on your store of choice. So that's not a bad price for a little co-op couch beat 'em up game, to be honest. But feels like it's not a high quality thing at the same time. If you want a physical edition, now there's some good and bad news when it comes to a lot of limited one games at this point in time. A lot of scalpers are running into a lot of dead ends trying to sell a lot of their stock that they scalp of limited ones. Only selling titles are really retaining a high price. So a number of titles have their price like all over the place because you got people who are just trying to actually get rid of the thing so they can break even. And then you got the people who are really trying to get a lot of money out of it. At the current time of checking Double Dragon 4, it goes averagely between $50 to $100+ for standard and collector editions. I saw one that was like $40 on eBay too, but it was just one, so they probably were trying to really get sold before they had trouble. But the price is all over the place. Honestly, I really wouldn't pay more than $20 for a physical copy if you're really desperate to get a physical copy, but that's your choice in that regard. I don't feel it's worth a lot of money for. I mean, the tower mode's a little fun to play with a friend, but it's just unlocking a few additional characters, and I mean, it has some fun in that, but overall, I didn't really replay it too much. I'd have more fun putting in like the Sega Genesis collection, just replaying Streets of Rage 2 and 3 and stuff like that myself. But those are my thoughts. At this point, we're going to just do a quick little thing on the spoilery part of the story, which there isn't much, so it's not really a big deal, but I would really recommend the game if you're really into beat-em-ups or Double Dragon quite a lot. Aside from that, it's just kind of... Anyway, spoilers! And these are going to be very short on spoilers. So, essentially, you find out this new gang's ran by two chicks who apparently, I guess, just want to beat the Double Dragons up for just the fuck of it of that. But you end up going to Japan, fighting them, forgiving them, and you save Maria, and it just kind of ends there. Now, as far as I know, these two twin characters never appear in any other title, so they're, as far as I'm aware, completely new. But yeah, there's not really much to the story. It's pretty cut and dry from just like Double Dragon 1, except the gang leader is two twin chicks instead of one big dude with a Tommy gun. So that's about it, really. I don't really have much else to say. If you have any questions or anything you'd like to ask about Double Dragons 4 that I may have not covered, feel free to leave a comment down below. And those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good day. Praise the sun, and take it easy.
私の作った